Hello there. My name is Paul Edwards. I'm with Danmark Company, and I'll be giving you a continuing education training on the Danmark dip system. This is going to be a multiple application, a multiple period of information. So we're going to go on and spend a lot of time talking about this equipment, and we're going to talk about its use as an application, but also we're going to talk about the technical aspects of it and how do you do preventive maintenance, kind of give you a general overview of this unit. But please remember that as with all continuing education, we're not implying any kind of a warranty on our training. All we're saying is that we're giving you all the available knowledge, but could be more knowledge available to you through other avenues, such as your USDA inspector, such as your HACCP consultant, as well as any maintenance personnel that have any technical expertise regarding the use of any intervention in a facility. So we're just highlighting some simple information, some practical information, but we're going to ask that you consult your local technical team to get all the available information you need, because once again, as I mentioned, we're not warranting these technical training as the only source of information. We're not warranting that using this information is going to resolve or help you with all the questions you have. Okay, so now that I've got my disclaimer over with, let me talk a little bit about what we're starting out looking at. We have a label that is on the tank of the acidified sodium chloride program. Okay, this label's on the tank, and if you look real close, it has the Danmark logo right there, and then you have XG940 antimicrobial. That is the chemistry that you'll be looking at right now, or be getting some information on. And then as we go lower here, you see that it is acidified sodium chloride, and it does say consult 7120.1. 7120.1 is your safe, suitable ingredient list, and this program falls under that list of ingredients, approved ingredients. This here tells you that please wear safety glasses and nitrile gloves. You can also wear rubber gloves. This chemistry is going to be at a neutral pH, and that concentration for this particular piece of equipment, for this particular customer, their range is going to be anywhere from 180 parts per million on up to 500 parts per million at their request. And then if you look closely at the lettering below the red nitrile gloves, it says drain directly in drain. Drain directly in drain. We want you to drain this directly into your drain. We don't want it to accumulate on the floor. Okay, so do what you can to make sure it goes into the drain, and also run a water rinse. If you have a little bit of spillage, you might want to go on and rinse down that area as frequently as you can. And then right here you have contact Danmark Company at 817-822-5767. So my name is Paul Edwards. You're welcome to call me. Okay, well, that's the label. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause this for a moment, and I'll come back to you. Well, I'm back. The Danmark portable dip system is exactly as described. It is a dip system, and it is portable. It is a 500-pound utility cart that this is on, and it's got wheels that move it in all directions. So it's intended to move into the production area and then move out of the production area when you're getting ready to clean it. Okay, now as I go below and I notice the area below it here, and imparting any kind of movement there. This area here is where your chemical would be stored. Now, I want to make this clear. I would not recommend that you move this with the chemical still in here. So my point is that take the chemical out, move the cart, and then move the chemical back in. It could be in a 5-gallon pail, it could be a 1-gallon pail, whatever you choose to do. The chemistry, that we're working with right now, it is a chemistry that has two parts. It has an acidified sodium chloride part, and then it has it's an acid part and a sodium chloride part. Okay. When we ship the unit out, you'll notice that the unit will have two parts. Okay, we're going to have a blue filter check valve, and we're going to have a red filter check valve with a ceramic weight. So you should be able to notice that there on the bottom there. That ceramic weight and that filter check valve can be ordered from Denmark. The purpose of the filter check valve is so that you can go on and keep track of your preventative maintenance. And it's my recommendation that every 6 months to a year you consider changing that out. Okay, so this area here can be considered a secondary containment of sorts. Okay, it does have holes in it. So if it dripped, it's going to drip in out of this bottom basin area, but it could be used to house or hold on to a tray. So the holes on the bottom are for cleaning that out, but you can put a tray in there and put your chemicals in the tray, and that could be considered a secondary containment for your chemicals, your antimicrobial agent. Another thing that I want you to notice is that this unit also can be positioned in such a way that your chemicals are on that side over there, and then on this side you can leave it open for any kind of additional items that you might need in that area. So we want to position the chemicals as close to that backboard as possible. And one other thing that I want you to take notice of, I'm going to try to bring this in very close, the camera in very close so you can take a look at it. You see that item right there? That item right there is a check valve. Okay, now I want to do something here. The check valves are very important, and the reason why the check valves are very important is that the check valve will make sure that the tubing has solution still in it. That way that it does not end emptied out. So technically speaking, in this particular tubing, you have a check valve there, and you have a check valve there. That red filter foot valve there, that filter foot valve also is a check valve. That blue filter foot valve is also a check valve. So you have a total of 4 check valves on that, because on the other line, on the other side, there is also a filter check valve over there. Okay, so there's a filter check valve there. Those are needed. Okay, you need to put those on. You need to make sure that you have those in place. If you ever run into a situation where that tubing is becoming detached very frequently, what you could do is the outer edge of that barb connection, you could put a little bit of super glue on there, and you can put that tubing into it and then let it seat. And that will go on and prevent that from disconnecting. Okay, super glue works real well. Now that check valve has got super glue holding it in place. So it's on there tight. But one of the things that I do want to make sure that you're aware of is that traditionally, when you receive check valve replacements from Denmark Company, you'll notice that one end of the check valve is darkened. Okay, and I'm gonna try to pull this back out. You see that? You see that right there? You see how that's black and the other side is not? Okay, we started coloring that black so that you know that that's the outlet side of the check valve. This is the inlet side of the check valve. Inlet here, outlet there. Black means outlet. You see that beveled in right there? You see how it's beveled outward? That also is an indicator that that's the outlet. Kind of looks like a little bit of an arrow, right? If you look at it, if you had an imagination like mine, you sit there and go, wow, that looks like an arrow. Well, that's the direction that it comes out. So no flow will go this way, okay? No flow will go this way. It'll only go that way, okay? So I just wanted to let you know that. I'm going to pause this, and we're going to move on to the next area of training. Okay, now we've come to the area of the training that goes into the pump section, and I'm going to go over this area a little more slower than probably you would want me to, but I just want to make sure I cover a lot of very important items that are important to me, that you know this. Okay, first of all, I'm moving the camera in so that it allows us to get into that area there. And okay, you see this blue-gray item there? See that blue-gray area item here? That item right there? See it? What that is a flow regulator. Okay, it'll give you so many gallons per minute through it at a given PSI. Okay. Now here's what's important about a flow regulator. Okay, a lot of times plants, it's hard to predict what the flow in that plant is going to be like. Okay, sometimes you'll go into a plant where you have 50 gallons per minute high pressure, and in some areas of the plant you're going to have slower volumes and slower pressures, lower pressures. So if that is needed, you have it. If you don't need it, you don't have it. Okay. So let me give you an exact idea of when that is needed. If you are well above 25 psi, and I describe well above as 50 psi, you're going to need that. And if that one's not going to handle it for you, we usually try to send that regulator or a regulator similar to that with every order that is placed on this unit. If you're at significantly above 50 gallons per minute flow rate, then you need to go on and put that in there, because we're not needing high flow rate with the system. And we do not need high pressure. So neither high flow rate or high pressure is a friend of this system or this process. So we want to use the flow regulator to control both flow and pressure. This unit here is a 20 gallons per 20 psi flow regulator. Okay, so given that unit's this pump's design, it's going to go only so many gallons per minute anyway. So that 20 psi flow regulator, this regulating flow to that level, is going to slow down your flow significantly to your pump. Okay. Now what this is here is a gate valve. Okay, and how we're using the gate valve is to reduce the gallons per minute. So I'm using pressure, and I'm controlling pressure with this regulator here, and I'm using this gate valve to reduce the opening or increase the opening, which will reduce the flow rate through that gate valve, okay? Ideally, we're looking at anywhere from 2 gallons per minute to 7 gallons per minute flow through there is all we need. And you'll be able to tell what's optimal for your process at the plant, because you'll have some identifiers, and I'll get to that in further training on what those identifiers would be. But I'm just letting you know that is the intended purpose of this gate valve, is to turn off the system so you have no flow at all, or regulate the flow so that your very slow flow, which could be as little as less than 1 gallon per minute, or a high flow rate, which to me in this particular situation, 7 gallons per minute is a high flow rate, okay, for the design of the Danmar dip system, okay? So keep that in mind. The dip system does not need a high gallon per minute flow rate. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to move us to the next area. And that right there is our purge valve, okay? The purpose of the purge valve is to clear our mixing chamber, okay? So if you follow that line, it goes all the way, comes across, and guess what's there again? We got a check valve, and that check valve does have the dark line. You see on that outlet side? Okay, the outlet side now is going to the... okay, let's see here. There we are. It goes into that entrance point there, and then from that entrance point, sorry about that, it goes into this mixing chamber. That mixing chamber is going into that T, and then it's going to travel through that clear through see-through pipe on into the tank. But I don't want to get ahead of myself. I just want to show you the path that is going to travel, okay? So we're going to go back over here, and I'm going to go on and discuss the pump here in just a moment. So we're going to go on and shut down this training for a moment and get ready for our next part of our training. Okay, remember the tubing that was split? It was a split tubing. One had acid and a filter check valve. The other one had sodium chloride filter check valve. Well, it's coming through that mounting wall right in there, and it goes into the bottom of the mini dose, okay? So there's your mini dose. It's on the bottom. Now, I want you to notice something real quick here. What percent pump is that? Okay, that's a mini dose pump. That is a 1% pump. That's a 1% pump, folks. And if you look real close there, I know I'm not at level with it, but looks like we're only close to 0.78 to 0.60 of that pump. So when we were doing some tests on this pump, we found that at about a 0.7, 0.6, 0.5, 0.4, that we were close to our concentration. So one of the things I want you to remember is that we're using a 1% pump. It's a mini dose 12 made by Hydros blend. Oh, no, it's not. It's made by Dosematic. It's made by Dosematic. It's a mini dose 12, and I'm using a 1% pump for this particular chemistry and for this particular application, okay? Keep that in mind. Now, I'm not going to do a Dosematic training right now. That's not my intention. I just wanted to show you what that pump is and make sure that you understand that. I also will include the fact that that is a Viton hard unit. That's a Viton hard O-rings on that unit, okay? So Viton hard O-rings for the unit, okay? That the water travels through here. It's a water-driven pump, so that as the water goes through the pump, it activates, or it goes up and down, up and down, up and down, and every time the pump goes up, every time this cylinder in that pump goes up, it's drawing chemical. Every time it goes down, it's not drawing any chemical, okay? But here's the beautiful thing about this, is that we're filling a tank. So that zebra effect, when it's drawing chemical up, and when it goes down, it's not drawing chemical, that's called the zebra effect. And because this chemistry is going into the tank, we're not going to see that zebra effect. It's not going to be a prevalent issue, okay? When you travel past the pump right in here, you see these are quick disconnects. So if you need to take that pump off to do some repairs to it, you just do it at that quick disconnect right there. See that T right there? You see this right here? That is your mix chamber. It's going up. Now I want you to notice something real quick. I'm going to bring this in real close. You see that right there? That's a bypass assembly. This right here is where the chemical, the acid and sodium chloride, are coming out of this tube right here. Okay, and it's going down on the bottom here. As you travel, you see those check valves? Bam, and then it goes right into your activation chamber. Okay, right, or not activation, but the mix chamber right here, okay? It's taking the acid and sodium chloride, it's mixing it in there, and it goes in there. Some people like to call that an activation chamber, and I've called it an activation chamber, but it's more like a mix chamber. So then the acid and sodium chloride combine there, then it goes through that clear tubing there. I'm going to come back over here. Now I'm going to pull this back. Folks, if you've got any questions regarding this system, do not hesitate to call. One more thing I want to do is, you see notice that valve on the purge, that is off. That is your off setting of your purge valve, okay? That's your off setting. It's off, okay? If I take my hand and I flip it like this, that is on. You do not want it on unless you're intending to purge the mixing chamber of the acid and sodium chloride, okay? If you intend to purge that, okay, this is what you do. You turn it straight up and down. But when you're using this system, you want that off. You don't want the water to dilute what's going on in the mix chamber. This pump is already diluting your chemical by 1%. If you open up that valve while the chemical is feeding, you're going to dilute it further, and you don't want that to happen, okay, folks? So please remember that. You do not want that purge valve on, because it will dilute your chemical further. Leave it off. Let the pump do this. When the pump goes up, it's drawing chemical. When it goes down, it's not. When the pump goes up, it's drawing chemical, so on and so forth, okay? Consult your owner's manual for Dosamatic with any questions you might have, so that you can get all the technical information you need regarding that unit. Now, I will be glad to email it to you if you don't have it, but this is what it looks like, folks. That's what the owner's manual looks like. This is what you need in order to understand that pump. In order to call up, if you want to call up Danmar Company to order parts for it, we'll be more than happy to help you with that. But that owner manual is going to tell you what parts is needed. Along with this unit, we email you parts description. The parts description is to let you know what every size that is, okay? Whether it's a nipple, whether it's an adapter, what that size is, that's all part of the parts description. And all we have to do is know what part of that part description you have a question on or would like to order, and we can take care of that for you. I can tell you that a lot of the components that you see here are going to be available at your hardware store. None of this is specialty made. requirements, except for the pump, it's specially made. But a lot of these components right here, because we're only dealing with about 20 psi because of our regulator, you don't need to have heavy duty plastic parts. And by the way, if I can mention this, none of this is stainless steel. Every part, most parts of this is plastic. So stainless steel is available through Denmark Company, extremely expensive. A system like this in stainless steel all the way around is going to cost you about $10,000. Okay? This system right here does not cost that much, I can assure you. Consult your Denmark Company rep so that you can go on and get a quote on this system, but I can tell you, it's not $10,000. Okay, I'm going to end this part of the training. We're going to move on. Okay, folks, we are now at the back end of the Danmar portable dip system. As you can see here, we have the outlet of the pump and the clear tubing here. You notice the clear tubing? That clear tubing is entering both. See that? See how that clear tubing is entering both tanks? It enters there, and through a T, it enters there. Okay? So why does it do that? Why does that have two entrance points? Because this system is designed to be a multi-hurdle approach. Same chemistry, 2 times dipped. Okay? It's a multi-hurdle is what we call that. And that is the design of this tank, is to be multi-hurdle. Okay? Now, it's got entrance point here, entrance point here. It's got this T. It's got these wire clamps. The reason why we have that wire clamps there is because we're talking about 20 psi. 20 psi pressure, maybe 30 psi pressure, maybe you decide you want to go with 50 psi. I don't really suggest it. I recommend against it. I think you should stay between below 20 psi and maybe just above at 30 psi. So we want to control that psi, and that's why we put in that flow regulator, flow pressure regulator, is to control that, okay, to keep that low. We want it to be low. We don't want your employees exposed to high pressure or pressure that could spray chemical in all kinds of directions. So we want to minimize your water pressure, and that's how we do it. Now, the other thing that I want to make sure that you understand and you're able to benefit from is that this system right here is has a discharge side also. Okay, so this system, you'll see here, this line here is a discharge line, and it's on now. So we want a continuous discharge, folks. This one here is open also. Okay, those are continuously open during the process usage. Okay, so when you're actually dipping product into the tank, you want both those valves open, and you want the chemical that is cascading out of the system, and I'll show you basically how that happens. You want that going directly into this tubing. You see there's no wire clamps on it? That's because that's a gravity-fed system, and you don't have to worry about pressure being a problem there, okay? And as you can see there, the tubing is going directly into a discharge tank, okay? So exactly what I was telling you, you want your tubing to go directly into a drain, and that does that for you. And once again, the outlet of the tank is not pressurized, so you don't have to worry about that tubing become disconnected due to pressure, and that's why it's connected directly into that barb fitting. By the way, the inside diameter of all this tubing here that I've been showing you is a 3/4 inch. The clear is a 3/4 inch, and that you see that has that nylon reinforced. That's also 3/4 inch. Okay, those ball valves right there, are 1/2-inch ball valves right there and there. That's a 1/2-inch ball valve, okay, folks? But if you refer to your parts list, you'll see that, okay? I think that that's probably clear there. Why don't we have ball valves on the inlet side? Well, because this inlet to this tank is triggered by a lever valve. I'll show you that here in a second. We call it a floating lever valve. But remember that at the very beginning of the pump, we had that gate valve. That gate valve is our on-off. So we don't need to have multiple on-off sites for the system to spray the chemistry. We can get away with the one on the inlet and then one on the floating valve. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go to the next section of training. Thank you for your attention. Okay, folks, we're back, and now we've gotten to the internal of the tank, okay? And once again, I'm going to explain this, but I want you to rest assured that we're actually going to do a running version of this system. We're actually running water through this, and you can actually see how it works real time. But for the purpose of this general understanding, this is titled the Danmark Portable Dip System, a general understanding. The purpose of this is just to give you an idea what are the components that we're working with here and what their intended purpose is. And then from there we'll go on and in detail we'll have a real world application so that you can actually see that in place. Okay, so what we got here is we have a float, okay? Now when the water brings the lever up, because this is a floating lever, okay? When the water brings it up, it shuts the valve off, okay? So when this lever is in this position here, the water is turned off, and you will be seeing this when we do a live operation of this, okay? So when the lever is down like this, the water and with the acid and the sodium chloride, the acidified sodium chloride, will be coming into the tank through the bottom of this little orifice here, okay, or this little pipe size here. It's a threaded pipe size here. It comes into the tank down here, okay? So when this lever is down, we've got acid and sodium chloride coming into the tank here. When this floats up, guess what? It doesn't have it coming in. So what does this lever do? Two things. It allows us to activate this flow rate, the chemistry flowing in the tank. It allows us to activate it on a demand basis, meaning that when I require some, I can demand that by actuating this lever. I can demand it by pushing it down that it fills up the tank. Then when it automatically fills up, it stops, okay? But there's some other neat little things to this that I'm going to be demonstrating a little bit later. But I just want you to know that when the lever is in this position, it's not feeding chemistry. When it's pushed down, it is. Now you might be wondering what this is, okay? Well, this is an overflow. Remember on the opposite side of this, the back side of this, I had my valve opened. That's right. When I'm feeding a food product to this, that valve is open. So this solution, when it gets to this level here, when it goes up like this, and when it gets to this level here, this is going to have overflow of that solution. It's going to have an overflow of that solution. And that overflow of the solution is going to go directly into drain. If you also notice here is there's little... Let me get that a little closer here. Okay. Where have you seen that stem at before? That PVC stem. You people out there that work in the garden, this right here is one of those stems that can be cut to size. Okay, that stem could be cut to size. They use it in the sprinkler systems at your home. Okay, well, I used it for this dip system, so pardon that. But you can cut this to size that you want it, okay? And that's how you do it, is with just cutting this portion of the stem, or this portion of the stem, or this portion of the stem. It allows you to go on and set that size. But from the factory standpoint, from us, we send it to you at that approximate length. Okay, so we want this below this ridge, which it is. See, here's the ridge, it's below the ridge. Okay, what are these holes for? If you get over this, if you overcapacitate that ability to drain off, then that'll be your secondary drain. We do not want it draining out of here, folks. We want it draining here. So remember that gate valve that I showed you at the very beginning of this training? You regulate the volume going down into that overflow drain with the gate valve. So by closing the orifice of the gate valve, going from open to close, when you close it, it reduces the amount of flow that's going to go down the drain, okay? So use that gate valve for that purpose, okay? Any questions here? Email them to me, folks. Now, what else do I want to show you? Well, I want to bring you over here, and I'm limited by my camera. I'm going to go and elevate that. Guess what, folks? It's got the same setup in both systems, okay? Both systems have the same setup for the exact same reason. This is a double dip system. That means it's a multi-hurdle design. So when you come into this tank and you dip it in, you bring it out and you dip it in here, you've got your multi-hurdle approach. Whatever got through here shouldn't get through here, okay? So just want to let you know that we've got two floating switches. You remember in the back, we had a line from the pump going in here and a line from the pump going in here. So you've got two systems basically going to provide you with the double dip system. They both actuate that valve. Sorry about the shaking here. Reposition myself, same here, okay? Bam. Okie dokie. Now, one of the things that I do want to bring to your attention is this section right here. Let me bring this in, okay? See that right there? That right there is made out of PVC. That threading, this is PVC, that's PVC. The reason why we did that is because we found that with metals, and we even used stainless steel, the 304 stainless steel, the corrosion was getting to it. So we went with plastic, and these seem to be holding out pretty good. But there is a way, folks, that we can go on and put epoxy. And basically what you would do is you would epoxy this portion to this portion here. You put a complete epoxy here. You still use that threading there, but you epoxy and you make it a permanent position. That would strengthen it. I'm not sure that you need to, but we'll do that for you if you want that epoxied reinforced. We're calling that epoxy reinforced, okay? Don't know that you'll need it, but if you notice some breakage that you want to prevent, we can go on and make that epoxy reinforced. Okay, so I'm going to go on and close this section down, and then we'll go to the next section here in just a second. Okay, folks, we're at our very end, the very end of our talking about the Danmar portable dip system. We're in the part where we're talking about the use of the produce tote. Okay, folks, what this produce tote is this that I just put in here, okay? You see the cover? That's called the cover of the produce tote, okay? This unit right here is this unit right here is the box of the produce toter. You see how it's meshed here, and it's got holes on the side here, and it's got mesh here, and then it has holes on this side as well. It just has holes on all sides. The reason why we did that is because we want to go on and get as much coverage around the unit that of the product that we can, okay? And then we have also that cover there that also has holes. So let's pretend that this was filled with the antimicrobial agent, XG940, and the lever is up like this, okay? So there's no flow going on, right? Now, when I put this product box in here, the product tote in here, it forces that lever down, okay? And when it forces that lever down, okay, it will trigger replenishment of chemical, okay? When you pull this out, the antimicrobial will cascade through this, around it, through here, around it, and come back into the tank, okay? You're gonna take this tote into the second tank and do the same thing, okay? This is called the small tote, okay? You can use this on trimmings. You can use this on whole meat parts. You can use this on red meat, poultry, pork, seafood, produce. Okay, there are some limitations though, so make sure you consult Danmar on what products that you can go through with on that, okay? And now, I'm going to show you the large tote. Once again, we come back to our tank. This is the large. This is the largest tote we carry, okay? Do you see that the tote right here, when the valve is completely depressed, you see how the tote is still at the just below the bottom level of this overflow valve? Okay, and then you put the cover on it. Same thing, right below that level. It's what we want, okay? We want the trimmings, we want the whole muscle part, we want the product underneath the solution. And when you pull it out, it rinses out, and then you can move into your second tank, okay? So you have a large large tote, product tote. This is your large product tote, and then this is your small product tote. Folks, that's all we have. Two sizes, small or large. Remember, you're going to want to wear safety glasses, and you're going to want to wear latex gloves, okay? These are the nitrile. These are heavy duty nitrile gloves. These are great. I love these. We actually use them also with our Danmar wash. We have a deer hunter product or a hunter product, but I really like these gloves. They are very strong, very good gloves. You need to let us quote you these gloves because they're fantastic gloves, okay? The first box of these gloves are free. So when you order this system from us, I make sure I throw a box of those gloves in there, no charge, just so that you can try them out. And then if you want to order some more, please do from us. Okay, folks, safety glasses, latex nitrile gloves, latex gloves. The pH of this solution is going to be neutral. Okay, the approval of this chemistry is a pH from 5 to 7.5. The chemistry in here is going to be 5 to 7.5 when you're using XG940 in this solution. Okay. Other trade names that can go into this tank at a neutral pH is Keeper and Keeper Professional. If you need any additional information on those two products, give me a call. I'll be more than happy to explain that. If you're dealing with the chemistry in this tank that's considered acidic, and there are several approvals out there that are acidic, you want to make sure that your skin contact, your gloves, are long enough that you're not making chemical skin contact. Okay, you want to protect your employees, you want to protect yourself, so keep that in mind. Remember that you need that all employees have a right to know. Have your MSDS close by. Have your technical information close by. Have your 7120.1 close by. Have your documentation on your chemistry strength. At Danmar, we recommend that at the very beginning of your production day and at the very end of your production day, you document what the total acidified sodium chloride was, what your free chlorine dioxide was and what your pH was at the beginning of your day and at the end of your day, so that you know that you had the correct concentration. And lastly, make sure that you date and time everything. And also, if you use the Danmar monitoring form, you'll also know that we have a section there for lot numbers and so forth, so you can keep track of everything. Well, we really appreciate your business. We really appreciate your interest in our products. And please call us up at 888-822-5767, 888-822-5767, or call me up at 817-822-5767. We really appreciate your business. We really appreciate the time that you've taken to learn. And please visit our website if you're interested in becoming HACCP certified. We do have an online HACCP certified program that is certified or approved or recognized by International HACCP Alliance. Really good people out there, and we're glad to be a part of their organization's efforts to provide food safety training to employees out there. So thank you very much and have a great day.